Well, first of all, thanks for joining us. I'm a huge fan of the business models that you've come up with. My question to you is really, where do you see mainstream media and primarily cable television and cable news and terrestrial, free to air news, let's call it? Where do you see them going? I mean, what do you see the future for them? What's their future in the next 10 years?
Hey guys, first, just thanks for having me on. I love talking about this stuff and great to be here with you. I think the data is pretty clear. They're shrinking. I have kids who are in their late teens, early 20s. They would never watch television news, and that's common. And I think they will last for a while. It's a good business model if you get it right. If you have a lot of cable carriage, certainly the way Fox does, it's a pretty good model. It's a high margin model. So they'll be around for a while. But I don't, and I think they would agree with this in their hearts. They don't say it publicly, but it's not a growth area. It's a shrinking medium.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of like, I mean, I use that. It's like the ice cube. In other words, it keeps it cold for a while, but everybody knows the ice cube is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And so that's it. And when you look at the demographics of these things, it surprises people all the time when you look at an MSNBC, it's late 60s, and Fox is, young, early 60s. And, I was watching a taping of the Gutfeld the other day. When I was down there, the whole audience was basically old white people, probably the average age in that easy late 50s. And that's their hip show that they can get people to come to. So what do you think? I mean, you guys, Tucker Carlson left and Megyn Kelly left, and now they're kind of wildly successful. I mean, if I was Fox, I'd probably rip out the checkbook again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I don't care. And I don't know you'd ever get Tucker back. He doesn't really need to come back. But if, want Megyn Kelly, I would go get Megyn Kelly again or somebody like that. Do you think that would ever help them? Do you think there's any chance, or is it the pipes themselves? Is it the format itself that's just not going to work?
I think there's a couple parts to that. First, I don't think Megyn would go back. Okay. We did a live tour and she came on with us, and Tucker and Megyn talked a lot about this topic, and they're both so happy. They have complete independence. They're making more money than they ever did. Wow. And so I guess if, they have billions of dollars and maybe there's a number they could throw out there to entice her back. But I think the other thing people like Tucker and Megyn know is they don't get much of a lift. Again, putting aside the finances, maybe someone could just, write a big enough check. But short of that, they don't really get any value add out of going on Fox. It's actually a drag on them. People they do not put their trust in media brands the way they used to. They find an individual who they think is telling the truth, and they follow that individual. They trust that individual. And they're very discerning about it. Both Megyn and Tucker have those types of followings. When you have that kind of a following, especially in today's market, if you even kind of know what you're doing, you can make it work so much better than you can on TV. So it's just like there's not a lot of drive to go back to a place like that.
What are the so at Tucker Carlson Network? So you guys are a year and a half old, something like that. Time flies, but what are
we're not even a year into
points? There's the website. Not even a year. Okay. Well, maybe time goes slower than I thought. But this last year seemed like several years up to the election. But anyway, how do you do most of your distribution? Because I think you're on X, you're on Rumble, you're on, I can't remember if you're on YouTube. You have the main website, which is the one I look at. And Tucker, of course, had a following. There's the question of whether you need some of the incumbent or whatever we're calling it, old media to get you to a point of prominence. Of course, Joe Rogan didn't need that. But anyway, how are you doing most of your distribution? Because that's the thing that supposedly you need these big names and brands, and maybe you don't anymore.
Yeah, we have an everywhere strategy. Our ultimate goal from a business perspective is pure independence. We don't want to ever be reliant on a large corporate partner for anything. And we've structured the entire business that way. Getting our content out widely on most of the big platforms is one way of doing that. So we are on YouTube, we are on audio podcast, we're on X, we're on Rumble, as you noted, and then we have our own platform. Our ultimate goal is over time to bring more and more people onto our own platform. We're building tools so that when you watch it on our platform, you get a better experience. Our TV apps are just soft launching right now on a number of the platforms. We're not on every platform yet, TV platform, but we're on now most. and more are coming. So we have an everywhere strategy. That means we're not beholden to any single outlet. No one can pull the plug on us. And the entire business is built that way. We're not going to ever be reliant on a single payment processor. We're never ever going to be reliant on a single video serving company. And if you do it that way, then you have pure independence. And our goal is to build a business model that allows Tucker to ask any question he feels like anytime without having to worry about anybody, any partner or anyone kind of not liking it. He's just never going to have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, I have something I've named, I call it subscriber journalism. It's the reason why the New York Times, who I really don't have a problem with, to be honest with you, because I respect their business model. Subscriber journalism is what I call basically, and you guys aren't really in it. It's basically, it's an extension of what the National Review was and the New Republic. In other words, Marty Purz, the New Republic, Buckley, they knew this is my audience. This is who I'm going to talk to. I'm dealing with these people. You can do everything with them. I mean, National Review, you can take cruises with them. You can make money a lot of different ways. And everybody did that. And then Roger Ailes came along and, he didn't even say, he said half of America is being ignored. But then he told Murdoch, he goes, I only need 20% of it. In other words, that's what we get. And, it was pure genius. And then in fairness, Phil Griffin over at MSNBC said, me too. You know what I'm saying? And then CNN tried to do the same thing, but they're just not as good at it as MSNBC. That's why I'm too much of a business guy to get mad at like MSNBC and Fox, because I know what they do. CNN, on the other hand, I think they still deal in this world of Columbia J School, like, we tell it like it is and we're safe and all that stuff. But the thing is like, one of the things is like the difference between, I'd say, the Daily Caller and other people, and even like Pod Save America, is not that it's subscriber journalism, but it's trust journalism. And that's exactly what you were talking about. I have trouble getting that. I'm trying to look for that in Asia. I have not had a chance to get it, but it's trust journalism. It's like you said, they go to somebody because they trust that person. Joe Rogan has that. In other words, everybody knows Rogan, the beauty of his program is it's 3 hours, if you can make it that long. It's 3 hours, and it's going to be in that 3 hours. You're going to find out what Joe Rogan's all about. A lot of drugs is lately that's what that he talks about. He's always going to get to that, but the thing is, he's honest. And I think with Tucker, I was watching a bunch of Tucker stuff. I watched the Tucker Elon interview, and I was like, this is really good. This is good stuff. And so the format that they control, to me, is so impressive. And when you see it, and that's why I look at Megyn Kelly. I didn't know she was doing so well. I mean, I'm sorry about that, but I'm happy to hear it. I've met her a couple of times. She was always charming. But, I think there's got to be people out there. I know, I won't mention their names. I know there's two people at Fox who are very popular, and they are so envious of Tucker's situation. They would love nothing better to get that. But I think they've been around a while, you know what I'm saying? They're still making the 8 figures, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, why change up? They get the car picking them up in the morning or the day, whenever it is.